Hi guys. Yes, I'm back looking all dapper and dipper. Okay, I know I've been away for a while and I make videos now and then. I talk about future people, I talk about time, I talk about probabilities, all kinds of weird crap that people don't really want to listen to. I even talk about religion, and sometimes I even pick up my guitar and write a song for you guys. But today isn't it not important, but well, yeah, important. Today I wish to speak about the inner self. Not the weirdo that you see yourself to be every day. Not the guy that wakes up every morning, not the girl that wakes up every morning and goes on with life, but the inner you. The inner you. I'm not talking about your belly. I'm not talking about your stomach or your intestine. Let me have a beer here and we'll get on with the discussion, okay? Well, there's been a lot of theories written over time about stuff like your soul, your inner self, all kinds of crap. Oh, you can read books and books and books about it, right? and and where's the truth in all that? Like, I'm sure if you're listening to this right now, you've gotten beyond all the Bible stuff and all the Qurans and all the books that have been written about religion. You're beyond that, right? That's the reason you're here on my channel, is because you've gotten beyond all that. That was good for its time. It was good for the day. But nowadays we got to move on, right? Because new shit is happening. And that's why I want to make this discussion about the inner self. The inner self. Well, it can get quite deep, okay? And I want you guys to leave some comments down there below and let me know what you think about about all this. Let me have a puff of marijuana. Let me have a puff. Okay. Back in the day before technology and all that stuff, and all the scientific crap that's going on today, which is good. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. But back in the day, people as a whole around the world were more connected with their inner selves. And now the inner self is an interesting thing to speak about. I will take you guys on a few different directions of how the inner self works. I'm not talking about your stomach and intestine. I'm talking about a being. A being that, let's say, it exists within you. Yes, it does. But it also exists in dimensions other than you. So, the you that you are is a physical manifestation of a greater you. A greater you. Well, I shouldn't say a greater you. I think that's the wrong word. I think okay, let's take it from the top. Let's say there's a being. Let's say there's a being in all of reality. And let's, just for the sake of argument, let's call it you. However, this being wishes to know itself. It is you. It is you. However, this being wishes to know itself more and all parts of itself, just like we wish to know more of ourselves, right? So what does it do? It sends parts of itself, which you are a part of. It sends parts of itself to exist in different realities. This gets really deep, folks. It gets really deep. So, just for the sake of argument, let's call this being our greater self. Our greater self. And we are part of that greater self. It's really quite simple if you grasp it. But if you don't grasp it, it sounds like, oh, this guy needs to go to the mental institution. All right. So just picture in your mind that there is an entity, a being, that is you, but you are only the physical part of that being which sent you to this physical reality to be born from a woman and to live your life. Meanwhile, it also sent who knows how many other parts of itself, which is you, to other dimensions and other places, and places where our laws do not work. But anyway, here you are. So here you are. You're living your life, and you're wondering yourself, what the hell's going on? The thing is, the greater you, let's call it the greater you, the entity that sent you, well, he did not send you into physical reality. He asked, it asked, would you like to live a life in physical reality as the person you are right now? You said yes. That is why you are here right now. If you would have said no, you would not be here right now. So, we are talking about the inner self. The inner self is that greater identity of ourselves that we are part of. It is like what that entity does is it attempts to learn about itself. So it sends parts of itself to different dimensions everywhere, and they go through their thing just like we go through our life. We go through our life, and then we return to the entity. We don't lose our individualism. We don't become part of some beehive where our individuality disappears. No, we always remain an individual. However, when we go back to that inner self, and by the way, that inner self is what keeps us alive. This gets so complicated, folks. I don't even know how I understand this stuff, but I've come to understand it over, a lot of years, and I know what's going on, like, in the background. Like, okay, here we are becoming doctors, nurses, learning our trades, doing our thing, becoming whoever we are. But meanwhile, in the background, our greater being, I guess, well, I wouldn't call it our greater being, but there is a being out there that's exploring, and we are kind of the scouts. We are kind of the scouts. We kind of go out in different dimensions and stuff, and we go explore things, and then say when I die or whatever, then I go back and I make a report, right? My individuality never gets lost. I still remain myself, but I add to my I add to whatever the heck my other greater self, not greater self, but more advanced. I guess more advanced would be a better word. My more advanced self is like using, like, it's kind of like, let's say you have an angry part, you have a knowledgeable part, you have a curious part, you have a mystical part, you have different parts of yourself, and you want to explore each of them, right? So that is what our inner self does. And my God, guys, if you followed me this so far, if you follow even half of what I say, this really gets interesting, and I want you to I'll make a few more videos of all this stuff, and it gets really interesting. Anyway, leave a comment there, and I'll go try to find something else to talk about. But I just want you to get a concept of the inner self, and it exists in dimensions. I won't even talk about it. I'm gonna log off now and go get high. All right, leave a comment down below. Bye bye.